Greg Poole here with Bowjunky Media. We're wrapping up the final. We're the last ones on the field. We're here in Appling, Georgia at the what used to be the ASA Pro-Am. We're here with your women's PRO professional champion, Emily Veyna, soon to be McCarthy. Welp, has it worn off yet, or are you still giggity?
I think it hasn't kicked in yet.
Oh, well, see, there was a third option. There's always a third option. That's good. So you got all the hugs out of the way?
I did. I got a lot of hugs.
Your makeup is still looking splendiferous.
I really don't think it's kicked in yet.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you got no runnage. You're looking splendid. So that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So the first thing that brings up for me is everyone or anyone that's been watching you and paying attention since your career really started taking off was that one of the many things that made you so absolutely adorable was that you showed emotion, and you were out there. When you did good, everybody knew it. When you did bad, everybody knew it. So talk with me a little bit about as someone that has paid attention to your career, the makeup comment might just seem aloof, but it actually matters to someone who knows you, because to me it talks.
I'm an emotional person.
Yes, and so to me that is indicative of some growth in the mental game. Simply because not because you cried after, but because you were able to keep yourself together even after the fact, and like you said, it hasn't sunk in yet.
Right.
So talk with me a little bit, and everybody in Bowjunky land a little bit about the mental change that you might have went through to get you where you are now, to be able to close the deal, and then when you're done, to be able to just soak it in and let it be.
I think when it comes to, I don't know, I've been like this with everything. Like when I do something really good, or even with hunting, when I've killed big things, I don't really get emotional, which is weird because I'm emotional when it comes to, like, if you tell me a sad story, I'm going to cry.
Right.
But I think confidence really helped. I've been executing a really, really good shot. I switched releases this year.
Oh, really?
I still shoot Scott.
Okay.
But I switched to a button. And
oh, really? So, okay, well, let's talk about that, because actually, unrelated, of course, Stefan Hansen was shooting a hinge and went to a thumb button, and then ended up winning the NFA Indoor Nationals. So obviously you guys aren't drinking the same water, so there must be a method to that madness. So talk to us a little bit about, one, what precipitated that change, and number two, how the adjustment period went for you.
This winter we were shooting for indoors, and I just wasn't shooting the scores I really wanted to be shooting with it. I just felt like I was really, really slow shot, and so we pulled out a different release and gave it a shot. And it's more like Dan and I practice together all the time, and he shoots a button, so it's something we both can see eye to eye on. Like when I explain something, I think it connects more. I don't know, maybe not, but that's how I see it.
And so what sort of changes did you have to make to either your shot sequence, your anchor point, or anything out there for somebody that doesn't understand what we might be talking about? We're talking about using a hinge style, just a rotate release, versus a thumb button that actually has a trigger mechanism. So what sort of adjustments did you have to make form-wise, if any, to facilitate that change?
I've shot a back tension for a really long time, and I've never really been taught how to shoot a back tension.
Okay.
So it's always just been how I've shot it.
Right.
And I don't really feel like I've ever correctly 100% shot it all the way through my back.
Gotcha.
And when I switched to a thumb, I now really feel like I'm just firing a really good shot using my back.
Okay. How heavy do you have your release set here? Let me see it.
I would say it's fairly light.
Light? Yeah, that's I wouldn't call that super duper hot, but I would call that a, light to medium to light tension on there. So what changed for you? How long did it take mentality-wise to adjust to that change?
Well, I changed 4 days before we went to Lancaster. And so I struggled with the clock in Lancaster a lot. And then we went straight to Vegas right after that, and I struggled with the clock at Vegas. But then once it started to click, like for indoor nationals, I just spent a lot of time shooting it. And once it clicked, it seems if it just fires way quicker.
Okay, well, one of the things that most people historically see in the female division is a lot of women with draw lengths that usually are a little bit long. Your draw length looks pretty spot on. Did you have to make any adjustments to your draw length going from the hinge to the thumb button?
Over the past year, we've lengthened my draw out slowly.
Okay. How much?
Just about 3/4 of an inch.
Really?
Yeah. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's pretty significant.
But we did it slowly.
Right. Well,
so.
I would hope so. I would hope so. So what sort of transition have you had form-wise that's allowed? Was the goal there to get your back arm more in line?
I've always shot an extremely high elbow and kind of an out elbow.
This deal.
Yeah.
Okay, I got you.
Yep.
I got you.
And
okay, so were you experiencing any shoulder pain or anything before that precipitated that, or was it just getting the actual alignment that you were looking for?
It was just getting the right proper form, per se.
Wow, excellent. Well, I got to say, I was super impressed. You know, we talked yesterday, and the whole cruise control thing, and you know, cruise control is a relative term, but just your overall vibe and kind of the way you talked about it was just very matter of fact, which is impressive. I mean, you know, I've talked with a lot of people that have won, and some of them have a little different mentality. Guys, you know, guys like Danny McCarthy and Levi and Jesse. The vibe that you exuded this weekend was very much along those lines. Jamie Van Atta, back when she was just killing people, she had that
crazy good shooter.
Just that matter of fact. This is what it is. This is how we do. So I'm pretty impressed with that. So now that you've kind of got this monkey off your back and stomped a mud hole in it, what's next for you? What's not just your shoots, but what's next for Emily up here, and what's your next goal?
My next goal, I really want. I've got podium in Reading, but I'd like to move it up a little bit higher. So I would like to win Reading. That's one of my overall goals. So.
I think you could probably do that. Danny, come here. Get in here. Danny McCarthy, everybody. Obviously, if you have not been paying attention, these two are engadgeted to be married. So you were sitting back there listening to our conversation so far, and obviously you have been present for some of these changes. I want to hear your perspective as someone who's had a tremendous amount of success in this sport, and someone who gives a unbelievable amount of their own personal time helping people. I want to hear from your perspective. You know, obviously she's here, so you know her headband will keep her head from blowing up too much. But I want to hear from your perspective, kind of this 3/4 inch change, the release change. Just kind of talk with us a little bit about how you have seen that go.
Em's been great. I mean, to coach and work with. I've worked with a lot of people, and you know, one of the things I wanted to do it tastefully with her. Like she's gotten here, she's been successful, she's had a lot of success, and I didn't want to change anything. I really didn't want to come in and make any changes to her, because you can take a person to a certain level, but once they get to that certain level, it's kind of up to them to develop their own style, their own way of doing things. But we shot together a lot, and last year let her do her own thing, and she had a good year. You know, it wasn't, but she was so close. How many tournaments did you miss the cut on by like a point, or get beat out by a point? There was like
I've made all the shoot downs but one last year, and I got a lot of fourths.
Yeah, so there was a ton of them that she was so close, and so I felt like she was just missing something, and it wasn't work, because we were working hard, both of us were, and so I'm a person that really believes in form being a very important part, and so there is some stuff I noticed right off the bat that I thought we could improve on, and I asked her if it was something that you would want to be willing to change, and she was like, yeah, absolutely, I'd try anything if you think we could make it better. So that's where we started. First thing I did was work on our elbow, bring her elbow down to where it should be. Next thing I started was just really getting that draw length perfect, getting it to fit her face, and then getting the loops and everything to fit comfortably where she could execute shots with minimal effort.
Nice.
And then the other side of it was a hinge, and I've shot a hinge pretty well, but I shoot a button mostly.
Right.
And so if I'm going to teach something, I'd rather teach what I do
Right.
than what I know, and it's just easier. And so she switched over to a button because I felt like a button fits her style better. She's one of those people that just likes to aim for a long time, kind of like me, likes to just sit there and really fine aim. And with a hinge on 3D targets, you get lost. You know, you kind of move around. Shot takes too long. It's different on a spot because you've got a good
You have a reference.
Yeah, and you know if you're wiggling out of it just a little bit.
Right.
On a 3D spot, kind of get lost. So speeding her shot up, working with a button, I felt like was the best thing. And she picked it up faster than what I thought she would. I mean, she shot
obviously
it really
the recipe's working. All right, so let's hear it. There is no way there wasn't at least one good fight.
I can't even. We've had so many good fights. I can't even pick out the best one.
I'm talking about the whole training change of archery stuff.
Well, and
so, all right, give it up.
I will let her probably tell this because it's one of those things where I know, and it's a delicate thing for us too, because anybody that knows me and knows me well knows I'm pretty to the point. I'm pretty truthful. I don't beat around the bush. I don't sugarcoat it. If it needs to be said, I'll say it to you. And when I coach, I'm your coach, and I'm not your friend. I'm not your boyfriend. I'm not your fiance. And
all right, so let's hear it.
I'll let her talk about it.
All right, here we go. Let's see it. You're staying here, by the way.
brutal.
All right, let's go.
Well, yeah, there was a few, but he just always reminded me that he's just being a coach, and I need to remember we're in coach land, we're in fiance land.
Right.
Coach land.
Separating the worlds, George Costanza style.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
I think, and I listen. I really feel like I listen well. I just don't understand well. That's
Sure.
my thing. And Dan's really thorough, and sometimes too much information for me is really hard to understand. But other than that, I think we do well together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well.
All right. Well, hey guys, I appreciate you spending some time with us today. Dan, great job. The two of you, obviously have a good recipe going for M success.
She's doing it herself. I mean, I teach her what I could teach her, but she's worked her butt off. I mean, she's gone out there on days that I've been busy, and she's practicing by herself and doing her own thing. And she's listened well enough that she understands that it's about repetition. It's about knowing it, but then going out and applying it and doing it. And she's done really, really great. I mean, I can't take credit for it. So.
Awesome. Great job, guys. We look forward to seeing you again next week.
Thank
awesome.
you.
Thanks.
All right.